Evening, guys. Welcome to a special Easter horror live stream with yours truly, Alan Scouser. So, first thing I'd like to say, it's great to be back after an absence of a couple of weeks now. So hope you've all been watching some good horror movies. I'm sure you'll have plenty to discuss in the way of what you've watched. I've watched quite a few myself actually since it was last on, good and bad. Hope to talk about some of them as the night goes on. As per usual, guys, I'm going to be here for about 2 hours. Yeah. So all right then, guys. I'm just going to get into the comments now and see if we've got any body in. Oh, before I start, I always say this, guys. If you're experiencing any difficulty at all, either seeing it or hearing me, please let me know, because I wouldn't want to be rabbiting on and giving you a very, very poor experience, like, communication wise in terms of the camera and the audio settings and that. So please don't hesitate to let me know if there's any problem at all, as I say, with either the speech or the vision. All right then, guys. So yeah, as I said, it's great to be back in that. I thought I'd do a special Easter horror live stream and that, before I wind down for the Easter holidays. So I'm going to have a look at the comments now, guys, and see if we've got in. So the first person we've got in is Kevin. You okay, Kev? Thanks for turning up, mate. Nice to see you. Hi, Alan and everyone. Hope you're all well. I'm not too bad, thanks, Kev. Hope you are too. Yeah, so thanks very much, Kev, for turning up. Always nice to chat to you. And we've got Vampire Jack. Evening, folks. Evening, Vampire Jack. Thanks for stopping by. Great to see you. And we've got Vampire Jack again. Can't see and hear fine, mate. Oh, that's good. That's reassuring, mate. Yeah. As I say, I always like me, me viewers to let me know if there's any problems at all and that, because I know how much of a bad experience it can be if you're watching a live and something goes wrong. Either the sound's not, 100% or the vision's not 100%. So yeah, so that's good to hear. Cheers. And we've got Kevin again. I got some good Blu-rays for my birthday. That's great, Kev. What titles did you guess? Please feel free to discuss. I'd be very interested to hear what you got. Kevin's saying again, audio and video are both good. Oh yeah, as I say, that's good to know. Very reassuring. Yeah. And we've got Brian. Hi, Alan. How are you? You okay, Bri? I'm not too bad, thanks, Bri. Yeah, winding down now with the Easter holidays. Hope you're all good too. Yeah, thanks for turning up. It's always nice to speak to you. And Brian's saying again, hope everybody is okay too. The video and sound are good. Oh yeah, that's that. I always like to give the best possible interactive experience when I do these live streams. So yeah, cheers. Thanks very much. Okay then, guys, so while we're waiting for the rest of the comments to come in, I'm going to broach a couple of the movies what I've watched recently. Last night I watched two abominably real bad ones. One was the Signs with Mel Gibson. It was boring. I fell asleep. All he were doing was the crop circles appeared in the ground and he started yapping about a possible alien invasion, but it was just yap, 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 yap. And then after that, another one, Scarecrow one, not the 88 Films one. This is another one. Again, boring. Yeah. So two bad ones I watched last night, guys. And if it include Nosferatu, which wasn't as bad as the two, granted, it wasn't as bad as the two I watched last night, but it was bad enough. Well, if you've watched me review, you'll know what I mean. Nosferatu at the weekend. But then I watched a great one called Incubus from 1981. Starring John Cassavetes. It was really good, all revolving around the Incubus, the legend of the Incubus, the sex demon, and then the succubus is like the female demon. But this is mostly about the male demon. Got a great twist at the end. I won't give too much away in case you haven't seen it, but it's on the 88 Films label. And the novel's just arrived this week actually, so I'm looking forward to reading the novel. But yeah, I love the Incubus. That's been the best watch this week so far. But yeah, getting back to Nosferatu. Well, obviously I highlighted all the things in the video, what I didn't like about it and the few things that I did like about it. Yeah, that's to say the setting was good, as I say, the approach to Dracula's castle, but I think they could have put a bit more horror in it, guys. If any of you guys have seen Nosferatu, let me know what your thoughts are on it. But yeah, guys, it wasn't for me, unfortunately. Yeah, I do prefer the old one, the 1922 one with Max Schreck, Nosferatu, a symphony of horror. So while we're on the subject of old horror movies, I've added a couple more to my collection. I've added The Golem, which I've never seen, and also The Man Who Laughs, which was based on the with the Joker, Batman, I believe, was based on this one. So looking forward to watching them. Yeah. Okay, we'll get some more comments up, guys. Kevin's saying, got some Vinegar Syndrome 4Ks, Dr. Terror's, Gorgo, Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman. Oh, great. I love Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. Yeah, that's one of my all-time favourites. Amicus horror anthologies, Kev. I love that one. I've watched it many, many times. See, this is what I always say in my videos, those old horrors, they got something about them what's got a good rewatchability factor. You can't really say the same for a lot of today's horror movies, you know, and instantly forgettable. Once you watch them, you know, just they don't stay in your mind. But the old, I grew up on them. I grew up on all the, you know, the late night horror movies that were shown on ITV and BBC. You know, the likes of Dracula, Frankenstein, you know, Wolfman, all those. They were sort of like the incipient stages of me becoming a horror fan, if you will. But yeah, they've got a certain charm about them. Those horror anthologies, Kev, and I would never part with them in my collection. I've got every single one of Amicus and Tales from the Crypt. That must be my number one. They're all good, don't get me wrong, I love them all, but Tales from the Crypt is my number one favourite because the stories are so strong in it, particularly the one with Peter Cushing, you know, Arthur Grimsday. But yeah, yeah, good to hear. You've got some Vinegar Syndrome titles, Kev. Yeah, cheers. Vampire Jack saying, the thing about Eggers movies are that they are Marmite movies. Yeah, exactly. I love Nosferatu. Yeah, that's fine. As I say, everybody to their own taste. The Witch, yeah, and The Lighthouse. I haven't seen The Lighthouse. I've seen The Witch, but again, I wasn't too keen on it. But as I say, you know, everybody to their own taste. If we all like the same things, the world would be pretty much in a pretty boring place, wouldn't it? It's always great to have, like, you know, get different opinions going, you know, about like what you like about horror movies and what you dislike about horror movies. But yeah, so makes the world go around, doesn't it? Vampire Jack. Anybody seen the 2023 Nosferatu remake apart from me, apart from myself? Kevin said, I'm looking forward to Devil Doll by Vinegar Syndrome. I've got Devil Doll, Kev, on DVD. I love it. It's a great movie, yeah. I believe like there's another one they paired with it, Zombie something. I had that one on DVD, but I didn't like it. You know, I would like to get the Blu-ray, but I don't like that zombie movie with it. I'll see if it comes down in price. It'd be nice to have it on Blu-ray with some extras. We've got Richard Brown. You okay, Richard? Isn't Robert Eggers' next film about a werewolf? Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Any of you guys heard anything about Robert Eggers' movie possibly being about a werewolf? While we're on the subject of werewolf movie, guys, I don't fancy that bloody Wolfman. I've seen a few trailers of that now, and I've read a lot of YouTubers' reviews of it. Yeah, I don't fancy that at all, guys. It looks a load of crap. It doesn't even look like a Wolfman. You know, there's only one Wolfman for me. You know, that is, the late great Lon Chaney Jr., who played Lawrence Talbot. Fantastic, you know. As I say, I've spoke about him many, many times, you know, how great he was in that role of Larry Talbot and that. But yeah, there's only one Wolfman. He's my number one Wolfman. And I would say coming a close second would be American Werewolf in London. Very, very, another great movie with a high rewatchability factor. And also, I like the Oliver Reed one, The Curse of the Werewolf from the early 60s. That's a great one, that, especially the part where he's inside the jail cell, you know, and the bloody the beggar looks as if he's got to crap himself, doesn't he, when Oliver Reed changes that and he turns around and his face is like semi-transformed. Yeah, I love that one, Curse of the Werewolf. Yeah, the howling, as I say, in that, you know. But apart from that, no other werewolf movies really, impressed me, you know, been very average. Right, back to the comments. Kevin's saying, I just need a 4K machine now. Oh, haven't you got one now? Got one, Kev? No, I've got one. I've had it about, it must be going on for 3 years now. And but yeah, lovely picture quality. The only problem I've had with 4Ks, I think I've said this before, every single one I've had's been too dark. And now I don't know if it's to do with the settings on my TV and that, but I've lightened it, but they're very, very dark. You know, I heard all this sort of like everybody, you know, singing the praises of 4K, but I haven't been impressed. So what I've been doing now, when I've been getting these special editions, I've gone to the Blu-ray first. So I think you've got to might have to have a special television to get the full benefits of 4K. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that, but all the 4Ks I've had, they've been dark, you know. So yeah, I'm sticking with the Blu-rays. Even that new one, I've ordered the Clint Eastwood one, by the way, the new A Fistful of Dollars. It should be here any day now. No, I've ordered the Blu-ray. I was going to order the 4K, but I thought, no, I'm not paying 30 odd quid for something that's half dark. You can see what's going on. So I've ordered the Blu-ray, which is just as good. Yes, I believe it's got the booklet with it now. So I'm looking forward to that coming, yeah. But yeah, that's a problem I've had with 4Ks. It's been too bloody dark. Kevin's saying, I've got Terranauts, which is Amicus 2. It's quite weird. It is quite weird, yeah. I had that myself about 2 years ago. It's a very strange movie, yeah. Terranauts. I couldn't really get into it, to be honest. Richard Brown saying Charles Hawtrey is in. He is, yeah. Charles Hawtrey is in Terranauts. You're right, yeah. Oh, by the way, talking about things pertaining to Carry On, I've got my next box set of the latest Carry On movies and that, so made up, yeah. So I've got 4 now, the new Blu-rays and imprints and that. So no doubt they'll release them all, you know, in time and that. So yeah, so I'm building that collection up very nicely. Love me Carry On movies, but I do like some more than others. I do prefer the ones that are set in the modern times, like Carry On at Your Convenience. I'm not really keen on the historical ones, like Carry On Henry and all them. Yeah, I'm not really keen on them. Yeah, infamy. They've all got this infamy. Some classic lines in them, though, guys. You know, Kenneth Williams and that. Yeah, nice to have them all. Like, we've got Vampire Jack, and he's saying, Al, the Nosferatu remake I'm talking about is different to the Eggers one. Oh, right. That was a different one then, is it? All right. I did see the Klaus Kinski one, the 1979 one a few years ago. I wasn't too keen on that one. Thought it was very, very slow. It's even more slower than the latest one. Kevin's saying, I've got The Devil Doll on DVD too. Oh, yeah, it's a great movie, that, Kev, as I say. Yeah, I love it, yeah. They made some great little black and white horror movies in the 1960s and even in the 50s. Granted, there was a lot of monster movies in the 50s, wasn't it, with the nuclear scare and the sci-fi boom. But yeah, I've got quite a few. 1960s black and white movies. Yeah, they're great. Yeah, Carnival of Souls, you know, Dementia 13, and that one I love, The Sweet Sound of Death. That's a great one. That. Yeah. Oh yeah. This made Eye of the Devil with Sharon Tate. That's a great love of mine. Yeah. Oh yeah. They made some great horrors in the 1960s and colour as well, of course, with the Hammer films. Yeah. It was a great time for horror, the 1960s. James Connor is saying, you okay, James? Hi, Alan. I've just got the 5 Fu Manchu movies and the 3 Sinbad movies for £40 in the Indicator 4 for 20 sale. Great offer. Yeah, I've got the Indicator Fu Manchu box set. I was quite lucky to get it, actually. Got it off a seller off eBay. The box set with all the extras and that and the lovely booklets. I've got that. But I haven't got the Sinbad movies. I did buy a couple of Indicator titles, 4 for 20, but every single one of them, I have to say, was crap. I'm trying to remember the 4 titles now. One was Lilith, starring Warren Beatty. One was Otley, starring Tom Courtney. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these. And then there's another one. What was it? He comes back to Liverpool. His father dies of it's apparently a heart attack, and he comes back to Liverpool. That Irish guy's in it. He's got fair hair and big eyes. I always forget his name. He comes back. It's a bit like Get Carter. It wasn't as good as Get Carter. He comes back to Liverpool, like, and he sees some foul plays going on because when his dad's on the deathbed, he sees this big mark on his chest, as if someone's kicked his father in the chest. So he starts inquiring then about, like, did he get into a fight in that, and he starts pursuing the ones responsible. But yeah, I didn't really care for that one. I'm just trying to think of the other indicator title I got. Oh yeah, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Oh my God, that was a bore fest. That was a bore fest and a half. The only good thing about it was the girl. She was very, very pretty, but the story was really, really boring. I tell you what, I am waiting. I can't wait for it to come out in the indicator label special edition, the Iron Rose. Any of you guys seen the Iron Rose? Yeah, about this couple who go into this weird graveyard and strange things starts happening. Lovely edition. Oh yeah, I'm counting the days to that. The Iron Rose. It's not a movie for everybody, you know, because they're in the one place all the time in the graveyard. But I'm looking forward to watching. I love that movie when I first watched it. Yeah, the Iron Rose. Yeah, so watch out for that one if you haven't seen it. Brian saying to Kevin, happy birthday. Yeah, I'd echo that. Grace Hall, Terranauts is a good but unusual sci-fi film. Yeah, it's not a movie for everybody. Terranauts. Yeah. Vampire Jack says yes. Eggers' next movie is a werewolf movie to be released at Christmas. All right. Yeah. I've yet to see you know, a new werewolf movie as good as the Lon Chaney ones on that, you know, American Werewolf, the ones I mentioned before. I've yet to see, you know, a new werewolf movie that's really gone up with them, you know, ranked with them. Yeah. Kevin's saying Richard Brown, yes, mate. Right. Kevin's saying thanks, Brian. Okay. And Kevin again saying Oliver Reed was good. Oliver Reed was great. He was magnificent, wasn't he? Yeah, I love Curse of the Werewolf. And yeah, that was the only werewolf movie, guys, that Hammer made, you know, which is surprising, like, because they made a couple of the Mummy ones, didn't they? I think they made about three of the Mummy. But the werewolf was the one monster. What they didn't go beyond the first one. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen more Hammer werewolf movies. Amicus dabbled in the werewolf genre. They made one called that one where they had to guess. You had to guess the beast must die. We'd have to guess that all people gathered in this country house. And Calvin Lockhart's a big game hunter, and he's after the ultimate prey, the werewolf. And one of them's the werewolf. And it has this like kind of it. Well, you know what I mean, guys. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So that's just like kind of gimmick near the end of the movie where it stops and you've got to guess who the werewolf is. You know, the beast must die, it's called. But yeah, I thought it was a bit corny, guys. You know, the CCT footage and all that, the cameras and that. I thought it was a bit slow. Yeah, not a very good one. There's another one as well. I think it's by Tygon, The Legend of the Werewolf with Peter Cushing. So I'm waiting for that to get you know, a good Blu-ray release. And also around about that time was one called The Ghoul, also starring Peter. That's a fantastic movie, that The Ghoul. I don't know why no boutique labels picked that up and put it out on Blu-ray. It's a great movie, that The Ghoul. Yeah. Peter Cushing, Veronica Carlson, and the guy that was in the zombie movies, the blonde guy. I always forget his name. He was in the Survivors TV series. He played Greg in the Survivors. If you're as old as I am, you remember the Survivors that was on in the mid 1970s. Yeah, but oh yeah, it's a shame, like, those two movies haven't got the Blu-ray release that they richly deserve, you know. But you never know; it's got to come someday. You know, they're bound to get round to it. Kevin's saying to me, do you have a 4K TV out? I have the Philips 4K, yeah. I got off Argos a couple of years ago, Philips 4K, yeah. But again, as I say, it's I have a problem with the discs. I can't get them. There's too much darkness in the 4Ks for my liking, you know. So what can you do? Kevin's saying you have magnificent balls is the best is the best line in a Carry On film. That sounds as if it's come out of one of the Carry On Christmases. Oh, you have magnificent balls. Oh, Mrs. Yeah. Oh, they had some cracking one-liners. In those Carry On movies. I always like to put them on when I'm feeling a bit down and dumps and have a bit of a laugh, you know. Put all my favourite comedy ones on from the 70s, you know, like Dick Emery, Frankie Howard, Frank Spencer, Man About the House, all them, you know. I love putting them on. Yeah, we live in the 70s because that was my era of growth, like being a teenager in the 1970s. I grew up with all those shows, you know. Used to watch them avidly. My number one sitcom is On the Buses, which I don't think I missed a single episode of that. Yeah, I love the movies as well, the trilogy. Yeah, I love On the Buses. Yeah, the characters were so. It was like Fools and Horses. The characters were so convincing, you know. You actually thought they existed, and they got the right actors as well to portray, you know, especially Stan Butler, Reg Varney, and Blakey, you know, Stephen Lewis. Now they had a knack, guys, in those days of being spot on with the character, you know, the actors who they picked for those roles. Yeah, but oh yeah, a lovely 70s comedy. And we've got Tony York. Okay, so thanks for turning up, mate. Tony's saying, even now, is there a particular Hammer film you're looking forward to that may be released on 4K by Hammer themselves, as they've done with Captain Chronos? Well, I would say the Dracula movies, but again, if they're going to be dark, as I've said before, I won't be picking them up. As I say, I heard all these laudatory remarks about the 4Ks are fantastic and that, and the colour pit pops off the screen. But when I started watching, I thought, what's all the fuss about? The dark more than anything. I'd say I've adjusted the settings and that, but they're still bloody dark. So I've given up now. Just go and watching the Blu-rays. But yeah, if the 4K they improved, they took the darkness away, I would get the Draculas, and especially if they came with a load of special features. Who count me in, because the Draculas have got, apart from Scouser Dracula and what's the other one, the first Dracula from 1958, which is packed with a wealth of special features. I would be game for getting the Draculas, as I say, if they came with loads of special features and that. Scouser Dracula's particularly favourite one because it's got a commentary by Christopher Lee, who also comments on the Scream Factory edition of the Scouser Dracula. I'd highly recommend, guys, if you've got the British Hammer films, upgrade to the Scream Factory, because they get a lot of special features on the Scream Factory. I've got Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, Scream Factory, Plague of the Zombies. I've got all Scream Factories, and yeah, Frankenstein Created Woman. You get great special features on what you don't get on the Studio Canal. So it might be worth upgrading to the Scream Factory. I'd love to see Scream Factory release Dracula's Risen from the Grave. Oh, that's one of my favourite Draculas now. Christopher Lee Dracula's that. Oh, yeah, really love that one. I think I've watched that one more than any other Dracula, apart from the first Dracula. I think that's the Christopher Lee Dracula I've watched most times. Yeah, not least because the lovely Veronica Carlson's in it as a heroine. My number one Hammer girl, Veronica Carlson. But yeah, oh yeah, I love Dracula. It goes without saying. I've spoke about it enough, haven't I? Over all the years the last couple of years I've been on YouTube. Lee's the only Dracula for me, definitely. Right, back to the comments. Actually, I've got Captain Chronos on the ordinary Blu-ray. I didn't get the special edition. I just got the ordinary Blu-ray. I haven't watched it yet. Kevin's saying that doll is much more weird than the one in Magic. It is creepy, isn't it? Very, very creepy. Yeah. Richard Brown, was it Nicole Williamson? Which you're referring to there? Not too sure what you mean there, Richard. Kevin saying Quatermass Experiment is the next Hammer 4K. Oh, that's coming out on 4K, is it? The Quatermass. I would have thought he would have brought out one of the Frankensteins or Draculas. All right. Tony York, Iron Rose as Francoise Pascal from Mind Your Language TV comedy. I think you're right. Yeah, Iron Rose. Yeah, I can't wait to get that. Brian's saying, I recently got Leviathan on Blu-ray. It's a great sci-fi film starring Peter Weller and Richard Crenna. I love Richard Crenna. He's great. It's like The Thing set in an underwater base. Yeah, I've heard about that, Brian. Leviathan. I've never actually, I think I've seen trailers of it. I've never actually seen it right through. I have to check it out one day. Vampire Jack's saying, if you haven't seen the Wolf Cop movies, Al, check them out. They're fun. Yeah, I'll have to get them, BJ. I'll have to check out the Wolf Cop. I've never seen them. I've only seen trailers of them, but yeah, I'll definitely get them and see what they're like. I don't mind a horror spoof as long as it's done good. A lot of them, like you've made the dog's breakfast of them. There's been more bad ones than there has been good ones. But yeah, I'll definitely check out the Wolf Cop. I'll probably get the two of them at once, maybe send off at eBay or something. Richard saying, I like Deep Rising. Again, I've seen trailers of it. I've never actually watched the movie right through. So I'll put that one on my radar. Tell you what I've been doing lately, guys, in terms of collecting movies. I've got a couple of new Giallo movies there, which will be showing off in my next pickups, the end of April. Yeah, some interesting ones. One's, I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it, The Bride Wore Black. Don't know if any of you guys have heard of that one. Yeah, The Bride Wore, and Elicited in a Woman's Skin. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching them. I like me Giallo movies, but again, it can be a bit of a hit and miss. My number one favorite Giallo is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I absolutely love that, and I would have loved to have read the original novel as well. But yeah, I love The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Dario Argento's Giallo debut, I believe. Great movie. That made me a Susie Kendall fan. No, I tell a lie. That wasn't the movie that made me a Susie Kendall fan. The movie that made me a Susie Kendall fan was a movie called Spasmo, which was a kind of like Giallo, kind of like a mystery movie made in 1974. But I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. It's quite weird in parts, but it's a great watch. And that's when I first became a Susie Kendall fan, when I saw her in that one, Spasmo. Very underrated movie, in my opinion. Kevin's saying, oh, Legend of the Werewolf is good. I'd certainly second that. Yeah, it's a great one, that. I remember having the, back in that early 1976, I remember buying the Monster Mag. And it had a great feature on that movie. And I think the other one was the Scouser Dracula. If memory serves me correctly. I had this big pull-out poster. You get like a bit, you get two movies, you get like a poster of one movie, then you get another one. And you sort of like, what you could do, you could just put them both, you could sort of like just sort of cut them out and put them separately on your wall. If my memory serves me correctly, that is. But they were massive posters. And I always remember that one, Scars of Dracula, that they had that scene of Christopher Lee, when he comes into the room and he stabs that woman on the bed. What he proceeded to do in the uncut version, he bent down and lapped all the blood off her stomach and that, but he cut that out. I'm sure that must exist somewhere, in the vaults, if he thought it was too sickly, well, compare that now to Terrifier. That's a walk in the park, isn't it? Christopher Lee, like drinking from a woman's stomach and that, but yeah, they cut that out and that, which is a shame, really, because I hate it when they butcher scenes, guys, in horror movies and that, granted, there is some scenes like they shouldn't be shown, like animal cruelty or cruelty to children, they shouldn't be shown. But I mean, like just straightforward kills and that, they don't really, you even say to yourself, I'm seeing worse than that, but like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, movies like that, as I said, Terrifier before, there's different levels of shock. What one person might find shock and another person might, it's like The Exorcist. Some people found it terrifying and some people laughed at it, if you know what I mean. So it's all down to opinion, really, isn't it? It's all in the eye of the beholder. What might frighten one person might frighten another, if you know what I mean. But yeah, they should leave the movies. It's like I don't like what they're doing now, guys, with this nonsense about putting trigger warnings on family movies, what we've enjoyed for years. If anything infuriates me more is seeing another bloody trigger warning on a movie. Putting trigger warnings on Only Fools and Horses, it makes me so mad. It really does. There's no need for it. No need for it at all. They're just being pathetic and stupid, I think. Get back to the way things were, basics and that. If you don't like a movie, if you think there's something in it that might offend you, don't bloody watch it. That's what I say. And I know I'm echoing the views of 99.9% of people, sensible people. If you don't like anything, you think it's going to upset you, don't bloody watch it. Don't start telling us what to watch and what not to watch. Get away with your trigger warnings. I wish the government would bring a law out to take all these trigger warnings off family movies and that, what we've enjoyed. What will we be doing next? Will we put bloody trigger warnings on the Bible, will we? Oh, that just infuriates me, guys. It really does. Trigger warnings. Vampire Jack Deep Rising is solid, right? Brian Gilson to Richard Brown. That's a good film. Okay. Richard Brown, yeah, he's pointing me in the right direction there when I said about that guy from The Survivors, Ian McCulloch. That's him, Ian McCulloch. I always forget his bloody name, Ian McCulloch. He's a great actor, very serious, isn't he? Very, very serious, yeah. I loved him in The Survivors when he played Greg. Yeah, I was addicted to that series, guys, in 1975, the summer of 1975. I was always fascinated. I always loved it when they had that character Tom Price. He was like the villain, and I always loved it when he encountered him in the woods and that, with his gun and that. Oh yeah, he was a great, that Welsh actor. Again, I can't remember his name. He played Tom Price in The Survivors. But yeah, love The Survivors. I love Ian McCulloch as well, especially in those zombie movies. And yeah, Ian McCulloch again's broached. Ian McCulloch, he was in Zombie Flesh Eaters too. Yeah, he's a great actor. I'd say he's great in them, just as good as he was in The Survivors. He was brilliant in them as well. Kevin's saying Kevin Francis won't allow the Ghoul on Blu-ray, etc. Oh, is that because of maybe copyright reasons? You think? It's a shame, isn't it? Like, 'cause it's such a great movie, can't even get a bloody DVD version of it. Ian McCulloch's in that as well, you know. Kevin saying, I grew up in the 70s too, Alan. Oh yeah, well, we've got something in common there, and Kev, haven't we? Yeah, 70s, yeah. Richard Brown saying Rise and Damp is a good one. I love Rise and Damp. Yeah, I particularly love that episode where Rigby tried to woo Miss Jones, and didn't the lad saying he was staying there in the you know, the flats and that. He pulled his leg, didn't he? Something about this ancient love thing where you burn wood and that, you know, he burned this piece of wood. They go, ooh, trying to woo Miss Jones with the wood. No, he did not take the mickey out of him, didn't he? You know, Richard Beckinsale and the other guy, the black guy, you know. But yeah, I've got the whole series of Rise and Damp, and I've got the movie as well. Leonard Rossiter, yeah, he's a great actor. Leonard Rossiter, I believe, is from my neck of the woods, Merseyside, yeah. Tony's saying, Alan, Ghoul and Legend of the Werewolf or Tyburn Productions. Yeah, Tyburn, that's it. Always get them mixed up with bloody Tygon. I got bootleg DVD copies of them, reasonable picture quality. That's good, yeah. I said, keep my fingers crossed that eventually some boutique label might pick them up and give them the release that they richly deserve, yeah. Kevin's saying, I love the Scouser Dracula. Yeah, me too. One of my favorites too. Yeah, as I said in previous videos, I can't understand the snide remarks from some people, you know, saying about the bats and that, you know, and about Christopher Lee, like walking down the castle like a reptile. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. All right, it wasn't it did have one or two problems with the rubber bats, but I disregard that. You know, they're all good fun, aren't they? Just like the Universal movies, like the Wolfman, when he changes, he has the same shirts on, doesn't he? The breast pockets and that, you know. Now you could point out, say that's a glaring error. I'm not going to watch that movie again, but I go with the flow. If I like a movie, I ignore that, you know. He just must have loved that shirt, mustn't he? He wore it in every bloody film, didn't he? And the part where it always makes me laugh in Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, you know, where Talbot's resurrected from the grave robbers try to rob his jewelry off his hands, and the rays of full moon bring him back to life. What also makes me laugh about that, when he ends up in the hospital, Talbot, with an head injury, he's got a bandage over his head and that, and he warns the police and the doctors he suffers from lycanthropy. And to cut a long story short, he turns into the Wolfman. Very good seeing that when he's on the hospital bed and the moon's shining through, and he wakes up like that, and his face changes. It also makes me laugh. He's got his hospital pajamas on, garments, and when you see him out prowling the streets as a wolf, he's got the bloody, he loved that shirt. He's got the same bloody shirt on with the breast pockets on, you know. So if you're a Universal horror fan guys, you'll know what I mean, won't you? About the Wolfman, the eternal shirt with the breast pockets. But in real life, you know, like I said, say that scene had been reimagined in the Oliver Reed one. You would have seen Oliver Reed with shirt ripped, wouldn't you? You know, he did really change into the Wolfman, and when he became normal again, his shirt had been tatters. You know, but yeah, I forgive you in a bit. You know, I tend to look by those little sorts of like errors and that. Just enjoy the movie for what it is. You know, good escapist fun. I mean, that's what you go to the cinema for, isn't it? To escape, you know, from the drabness of ordinary life. You know, I can't understand these movie producers. I won't go too much into this woke nonsense, guys, because it gets me really inflamed and annoyed. But you would think these producers in Hollywood would start thinking, oh, we've had a big flop here. Let's start doing movies what people like. They like stories and characters. People don't like to go to the movies to be preached at, you know, political ideology rammed down their throats. You know, they should start thinking this, you know, and start making movies that have got good stories and good characters. That's the whole idea of going to the movies or renting a video house. escapism. You know, you don't watch a movie to be lectured on all sorts of aspects of culture, society. You go to be entertained, and this is what you should bear in mind. These movie producers turning out these bloody rubbishy, changing the story and that. You know, oh, she's not gonna find true love. She's gonna be a feminist woman. Oh, crap! Really makes my blood boil, that, guys. It really does. Richard Brown, quite like Satanic Rites of Dracula. I always call that the James Bond Dracula movie, Richard. Yeah, because it's got like elements of Bond, hasn't it? You know, the guys on the motorbikes and that, and all the Secret Service skullduggery going on. You know, and famous names, MPs and that involved in cults. Yeah, and I always call that the James Bond Dracula movie. Yeah, the plague and that, the Black Death. Brian saying to Tony York, that's great. Is it okay if I ask where you got them from? MG, hi mate, it was nice to meet you. Oh, hiya mate, yeah. Oh, thanks for turning up, mate. Yeah, I enjoyed seeing you the other day in HMV. It was nice to see you. Yeah, by the way, I don't know if you know, I didn't like Nosferatu. I wasn't struck on it, but yeah, it was great to see you, and thanks for turning up. Yeah, ask me anything at all, you know, about me movies and that, you know, me writing and that, you know. Yeah, it's great to see you, mate. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for turning up. It's always nice to meet, you know, people like watch your channel and that, and you meet up and get together and that. I think it's a marvelous thing, you know. It's a good way of meeting people, you know, people that's got the same interests as yourself and that. And it's really cool when you discuss movies. I mean, I can talk about movies till the cows come home, because I love movies. Like, next to books, my two number one loves in life. If you wanted to have a third one, not so much now though, music. But I don't really buy a lot of music now, so I don't like all the rubbish that's in the charts. But you're talking about 60s and 70s and some 80s, yeah. But no, my two main loves now are movies and books, yeah. So yeah, go talk about all those subjects, as I say, till the cows come home. But yeah, it's good to see you, MG. Thanks, mate. Thanks for stopping by. And we've got Tony York. I agree with you about 4K. In my opinion, it's overrated. In most cases, Blu-ray is fine for me. Yeah, this is the point I've been making. I can't understand why some people, you know, to rave over the 4Ks and that, you know. But whereas the jump in picture quality from DVD to Blu-ray is very, very noticeable. Hardly is with the jump from Blu-ray to 4K, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah, so yeah, I'm sticking with the Blu-rays now. Like yourself too. Tony saying to Brian, I'll have to check. It was a while ago. Okay. Brian saying to Tony, thanks. And we've got Kev saying, I had Leviathan on Blu-ray from Scream Factory, great film. I'll have to check that out, Kev. I haven't seen Leviathan. As I say, I've only seen trailers of it. But yeah, that's definitely one I'll put on my radar. There's another movie as well, but I don't really fancy it, like a kind of a sci-fi monster movie. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, Event Horizon. I think Sam Neill's in it. I watched a few trailers and I thought, I don't think I like that, you know. But I do know a lot of people are, you know, speak highly of it, you know. But yeah, it's not really for me, that one. So I won't be bothering with Event Horizon. And Tony's saying, I've got both those Giallos, and oh, fantastic. Big fan of them. Yeah, as I say, I love the Giallo movies, but as I say, they can be a little bit of a hit and miss, you know. I've had some great ones, but by the same token, I've had some pretty dire ones, you know. Oh, yeah, I love Giallo, yeah. Richard saying Deep Red is my favourite. Yeah, but what's his name in it? David Hemmings. Yeah, it's a good one, Deep Red. Vampire Jack saying my favourite Giallo is Tenebrae. Yeah, great movie. I love Tenebrae. Oh yeah, I love Tenebrae to Grace. Yeah, I really agree with you there on that. Love Tenebrae. Vampire Jack, Short Night of the Glass. I've just got the special edition of that, Short Night of the Glass Dolls. I did watch it about 2 or 3 years ago, and I forget it. So it'd be nice to revisit it. They're doing a great job with these special editions, aren't they? Some cracking movies. Richard Brown, The House That Screamed. Is that the one with that's not the one with Barbara Stanwyck in it? Oh, that's The House That Wouldn't Die, isn't it? There's a TV movie with Barbara Stanwyck in. I think that's the house that wouldn't die. The house that screamed. Isn't that set in the Victorian days? All women in the house, like a sorority. Is that the one? If that's the one I'm thinking of, there's a lot of talk in it. Yeah, if that's the one, I wasn't too keen on that one. The house that screamed. Arrow released it. I seem to remember, like a brownish cover. Is that the one you mean? Brian's saying, my sister Melanie feels the same way as you about cards. She wishes they got rid of them. Yeah. Richard Brown. William Shatner said they are censoring class. Oh, that's bloody ridiculous, that. They're censoring classic star. Haven't they got anything better to do? They're sitting on the dirty big fat backsides in these offices. Oh, what can we do now? What can we change now? I know. We'll take Mr. Spock out. We'll take Mr. Spock out of Star Trek. Oh, makes me blood boil. Why don't they? Why have we got to this stage, guys? How have we got to this stage where we're getting these bloody idiots that don't know anything about storytelling? They don't know how to put a good story together. They don't know what makes a character interesting. They're coming out with these stupid bloody recommendations about censoring things. It just makes me blood boil in my veins. It really does. They can't leave bloody things alone. I was infuriated when I heard about some of the books they were censoring, like Roald Dahl and James Bond. That was part of history. History should be left as it was. They can't change history. They can't get into a bloody time machine like Rod Taylor and go back and that's another good movie, that, by the way, The Time Machine. Go back and change things. It's something they'll never be able to do. Leave history and stop trying to brainwash people, to this ideology. I won't go on too much, guys, because as I say, it infuriates me. They just want to leave things alone. You better not take bloody Dracula's teeth out next, because there'll be trouble. I wouldn't put it past them, to censor Dracula because his teeth are too sharp. Put the wind up dentists, say. Bloody pathetic. These buffoons. If I was in one of these corporations, I had those buffoons, I'd say, get out. I don't want you working for me. I'm surprised it hasn't happened with Disney, to be honest. All the tomfoolery that's going on there with that Snow. I'm glad that Snow White flopped. It deserved it. It really did. Tony York, have you ever seen Fraulein Dr. Alan? Susie Kendall plays a German. No, that's the one I've got to get. That one. That's on me radar. That's so. Fraulein Dr. I did get one with Susie Kendall in a couple of weeks ago. The story of a cloistered nun. Have you seen that one? Pretty good. It's a bit slow in parts, but yeah, she's kind of like she's got Susie Kendall. She plays like this Mother Superior, and she's got like a couple of layers to her personality. 1 minute she's very nice and gentle, and next minute she's very dictatorial and imperious and bossy and stern. There's two sides to her. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's not great, but it's okay. I'm trying to get all the Susie Kendall's movies. That's another good one of Susie Kendall's. Assault, that was made in 1971. That's a great one, that. Yeah. Torso's a good one. The one with which is the girlfriend of that guy who buys all those Uncle Albert relics from the antique shop. Or what's it called? I always forget the title of that one. The one with Donald Pleasance in. It's like an Amicus movie, and she's good in that as well. Yeah. Love Susie Kendall. Tales That Witness Madness. That's it. Tales That Witness Madness. I think it was made in 1973. Tell you what, guys, I don't know about you. I don't know if Miss Peter Cush and Christopher Lee. I bet if they were alive today, they'd be constant demand, because they were just all right. They did make other films, but of course they're best known for the horror movies, aren't they? But two great icons of cinema. And if you wanted to go back further, Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney Jr., they were all greats of horror. Vincent Price, and I just wish. We could get actors of that caliber today emerging that, because the ones that's out now, that they don't impress me at all. They really don't. They don't seem to have any heart in the characters, what they're portraying. Like, they're just doing them like to make a quick buck, in my opinion, anyway. Kevin's saying cheesy movies in the USA brought out a DVD of Legend of the Werewolf unofficially. Oh, right, yeah. Yes, it's a good one, that Legend of the Werewolf. Ron Moody's in as well, isn't he? I think he plays a zookeeper, Ron Moody, who's fantastic playing Fagin and Oliver Twist. Love Oliver Twist. Got to pick a pocket or two. Yeah, that one I'm reviewing the situation. I love that one. So many great songs in that. Oliver, that's one of my all-time favorite. That is one of my all-time favorite movie musicals. That guy's Oliver Lionel Bars, along with the Wizard of Oz, Singing in the Rain, Grease, of course. Wasn't too keen on Saturday Night Fever. No, I didn't. I wasn't too keen on that. But I love Grease. Love Grease. Yeah. But oh yeah, classics they were. Yeah. Yeah. Brian Gilson to Kevin. Thanks, Kevin. I look for this on eBay. Tony York saying, it's a Brian, regarding Ghoul and Legend of the Werewolf, it's a site called My Rare Films. If you do a search for it, it should appear. Oh, that sounds interesting. There's another site, guys, I came across a couple of months ago. It's called oldies.com. oldies.com, and if you go on there, it's got loads of rare movies I've never heard of, rare horror movies and that, oldies.com. So if you type that in, you get vast range of rare titles. I love discovering sites like that, guys. We'd have like a lot of rare movies and that what you've never heard of. It's great. It's one of the pleasures of being a YouTuber, in my opinion, discovering these sites that have a lot of rare movies on. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that, but I think it's one of the great aspects of being a movie buff, discovering these rare movies. Brian, thanks for your help, Tony. And Kevin's saying, the last great modern horror I really enjoyed was Drag Me to Hell. Yeah, that's one of the best ones. I'm with you there, Kev. I love Drag Me to Hell. Oh, that what was her name? Mrs. Garnish. Oh, she was creepy, wasn't she? The part where we first see it in the office and that, where she attacks the girl in the car park and that, and then the ritual and that. Oh, I love Drag Me to Hell, and that ghost and that. Creepy, the sound of the ghosts creeping up to the house. Yeah, it's great, that one. I believe they're doing a sequel, aren't they? And whether it'll be as good as the original remains to be seen, but if they like Terrifier, they do it like as well as the fella Terrifier movies did. It'd definitely be worth watching. They're making the Terrifier 4, aren't they? Now you think he's the new horror icon now, Art the Clown. Vampire Jack. I've seen Event Horizon a few times. It's never quite clicked. Yeah, as I say, Vampire Jack, I don't fancy it. So, I'll spew that one. And Brian's saying, Event Horizon is an amazing film. I totally recommend it, Alan. Oh, right, yeah. I suppose, like, again, it's all a matter of opinion, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, well, I might check it out. I'll see. Richard Brown, Events Horizon is Hellraiser in space. All right, yeah. I'm not really a huge sci-fi fan. I do like some sci-fi movies. I like Day of the Trip. It's an invasion of the body snatchers, and I love Alien, the first one. I did prefer the first one, guys, to the Aliens, because the Aliens was more of like a battleground thing, wasn't it? Like, all like a big army fight, like, the Marines and that fighting the aliens. That was more of an adventure movie, whereas Alien was the haunted house in space, wasn't it? Yeah, in space, nobody can hear you scream. I love the first Alien. I don't think any of the other movies have come up to that first one, But yeah, I'm not really a big sci-fi. I do like some, if you've got good monsters in and that, and good plot and character. I like the Quatermass ones. I'm not crazy about them, but I do like them. And as I say, like any sci-fi movies from the 1950s that has like a monster in or some sort of creature, if the story's good, yeah, I'm up for it. But a lot of these sci-fi, I don't know what you guys think. A lot of these sci-fi stories can be very, very convoluted and complicated, because like you get them like there's so many like levels of space marines and that, and governments, interstellar governments and that, and all different races and that, and like they go on and on sometimes about the political machinery of these races and that in space, at the expense of action. That's a big problem I've found with a lot of sci-fi stories. They go on a little bit too much about the political side of, like, having a space community and that, whereas don't really see many monsters in them and that. Yeah, that's my opinion anyway. Right, so comments are coming in now thick and fast. And Tony's saying, don't torture a duckling. It's a good giallo. Yeah, bit different to the norm. It's set in a village rather than a city. Yeah. I made up having a special edition of that. So And Tony saying they'll be burning books soon. Like, in fact, yeah, Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. Yeah, yeah, that, like the fireman burning all the library books. You can see it coming up. Don't know why. I don't know how society's got like this. I just don't know why people, sensible people, haven't just, you know, stopped it in its tracks and say, no, you're not doing that. They can do other things, can't they? You can ban other things, but you can't ban these bloody idiots that are coming out with these stupid laws and that. You know, oh God. It just infuriates you guys. It really does. I never ever thought to see days like this where they put trigger warnings on movies, like on TV series like Only Fools and Horses. I never ever thought it. Sometimes I think I'm having a nightmare. I'm going to wake up any minute. It's all been a dream, like kind of like weird Monty Python-esque, Monty Python-esque Orwellian society we're living in now, you know. But as I don't want to get too much into it, but it just annoys me, you know, what they're doing and that, you know. Even poor Mary Poppins isn't safe. Richard Brown, they keep saying woke is dead. Doesn't look like. I know, yeah. Well, it's completely obliterated. Then we can maybe safely say, well, it is dead. Kevin saying, I hate Disney now and all they stand for. They're trying to rewrite history. Yeah, they are. Yeah, and there's been many videos about this put on YouTube daily and that, you know, saying how much of a sham. You know, particularly that Snow White. Oh God, yeah. I don't know what she was going, what her game was. You know, the way she was going on about like, oh no, changing the story and that. You know. She said about the original classic and that. You know, and it's dated and noticeably so. Get off my screen. I've got no time for people like that, guys. I really haven't. Live in another world. Tony York. I have that on bootleg DVD too, Alan, for Fraulein Doctor, right? But so long ago, I can't remember where I got it from. Don't think it's ever had a proper release. Got Assault too. That's a good one. It's a great one. Assault, yeah. I've got the Blu-ray. I've got the picture quality is amazing. It really is, yeah. And as I say, Susie Kendall's fantastic in it. She really is. There's one of her movies that another one of her movies. It's not a horror, guys, but she made it with her husband Dudley Moore. It's called 30 is a Dangerous Age. 30 is a Dangerous Age, Cynthia. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but I'm waiting for that to come out on a Blu-ray. But yeah, I love Susie Kendall. She's great. Very underrated actress. Yeah, natural blonde. Too bad looks like got like honey blonde hair and that, you know, and lovely eyes. Like, yeah, oh yeah, she's one of the best looking women I've ever seen in you know, in cinema. And she's been in TV series as well. She's been in she guest starred on The Persuaders with Roger Moore and Tony Curtis. She's in an episode of that and a couple of other guest appearances as well. Yeah, a bit like Veronica Carlson, really. You know, as well as appearing in the Hammer films and a couple of other movies. She's guested in TV series like Spider's Web. You know, and anybody remember Public Eye with Alfred Burke, Frank Marker? She was in an episode of that. Yeah. And my mum hated that series, Public Eye. Yeah, he had like sort of like investigated low key crimes, didn't he? Yeah, Alfred Burke. Yeah, he used to be on like when I was at was about like I was about 13 or 14. It was always on the telly. I didn't watch every episode now, but it did. There was a lot of talk in it, and I believe you can get I know you can get the box set of that now. Yeah. And talking about TV series, guys, moving on to the 1980s, Juliet Bravo wasn't a bad TV series. That started in the autumn of 1980. Yeah, Stephanie, what was the name of the first one? Was it Stephanie Turner? And then another girl took over then, like a blonde woman. But yeah, I used to watch Juliet Bravo every Saturday night after the Generation Game. Yeah, I used to enjoy it and that. She was great playing that first girl, woman, Stephanie Turner. She was great at playing the the female cop. Richard Brown saying, I liked On the Town. Yes, that's the one with the sailors in, isn't it? Frank Sinatra and Gene Kelly. It's a good one, that. Anchors Away, that's another one. A lot of people get them mixed up, don't they? Anchors Away and On the Town. Yeah, can't beat the classic musicals. Tony York saying, just about every studio canal release has a trigger. That's ridiculous, that. Yeah, that one had one, didn't it? The Girl from Mars, what was it called? The Girl from Mars on the studio canal. That had a bloody trigger warning. God knows what for. So annoying. Bloody ridiculous. They should be banned, all that nonsense. Get back to normality. Idiots. Richard Brown. When they got up a couple of years ago, guys, it even spread to comics, didn't it? The Beano and Dennis the Menace. They were going to ban Dennis the Menace because he was too rough. Oh my God, that was the whole bloody point. Dennis the Menace. Dennis the Menace is supposed to be, you know, a stroppy boy. You're getting into trouble all the time and that, you know, wayward and that. That's the whole point. Going to make him into a milksop. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't like these whisperings I've heard as well about the Narnia. They're going to redo Narnia and Harry Potter. Not that I'm a fan of Harry Potter, but they're going to change one of the characters, make him a coloured skin or something. They're going to mess around with his back. They're going to change the character like they did with Doctor Who. Oh God, don't even get me started on that. Oh, yeah, but it's just ridiculous, guys, the way it's gone. That was the other Juliet Bravo, yeah. Richard, Anna Carteret, yeah. So that's Stephanie Turner and Anna Carteret, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they revived Juliet Bravo, you know. But of course, if they start put trigger warnings on it, I don't think I'll be watching it. Tony York. I have Public Eye on DVD. Oh yeah, that's right. It's on DVD, the whole series. Yeah, it's in color and black and white. It's one of those series where not much seems to happen. Yeah, but still enjoyable. I've got all the Juliet Bravo series. Oh, have you on DVD too? I preferred Anna Carteret. Yeah, I like Juliet Bravo. I like to get those series and that. And maybe in Public Eye, you know, because just for nostalgia's sakes, and that just sort of relive my teen years and that, you know, because like I've got a couple of box sets there from my teen years and that, you know, I've got to get round to watching, and childhood years like the Avengers, the Champions. Oh, I love the Champions. Alexandra Bastedo, one of the most beautiful women I have ever seen to grace the screen. Alexandra Bastedo, she played Sharon, and you have the two guys and that, you know, Stuart Damon and William Gaunt. Yeah, and the Avengers, I say, but Diana Rigg, my favourite one. Tara King came later. I wasn't really keen on her as I was on Diana Rigg. I haven't got the Honor Blackman ones. I haven't got them. But yeah, oh yeah, it's great collecting the old TV series and that, reliving your youth and that, you know, your childhood years and your teen years. Yeah, it's a great little hobby. Kevin's saying you can't see Tom and Jerry on TV. Oh, that's ridiculous, that. You can't see Tom and Jerry on TV now. They want to sack all these idiots and get sensible people in. Bloody screwballs they are. Talk about Screwballs, the movie. I think it's becoming fact. Yeah, just wait for some more comments, guys. So what, any of you guys been watching any good movies lately? Any good buys and any bargains? Yeah, feel free to discuss them and that. You'd be very interested. We've got a comment here on Alexandra Bastedo. Alexandra Bastedo was in The Blood Spattered Bride. I've got The Blood Spattered Bride, yeah. Yeah, she's great in that. Great actress, yeah. You know, no longer with us, sadly, but yeah, look, Alexandra Bastedo. My dad liked her as well, yeah. Linda Carter and all, I like Linda Carter. She's not blonde, she's dark. She played Wonder Woman, a dark-haired girl. Yeah, she's nice, Linda Carter. And the blonde girl that was been acted by her husband, Christopher George, Linda Day George. She's another favourite actress of mine. She's great. Yeah, she was in Pieces and that, you know, movies like that. But yeah. So I think, guys, I'll go on till about 10:30, and we'll call it a night. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for turning up. It's great coming back on and talking to you all, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's what I've got to watch. You know, that Creep, not the one that's where the girls in the underground late at night. The other one where the guy gets the videographer to make a film of him before for his son. They've done a series of that, so I'll have to watch that. It's on Shudder at the moment, so I'll have to start watching that. I believe it's going to get a Blu-ray release as well, that one. So I'm not really a great fan of found footage, but that was a pleasing exception, yeah. Vampire Jack's asking me, are you looking forward to the new Final Destination movies? Do you know what? I'm not all that up on the Final Destination movies, Vampire Jack. I've never really seen them right through. I know the first one involves an airplane disaster, doesn't it? But I've only seen clips of them. I haven't seen them right through, so I'll have to get the box set and go through them and do a video on them, rate them and that. But yeah, I'll check them out. The Final Destination. Yeah, they're like sort of like involving like different sorts of like things, aren't they? Like airplanes, roller coaster, from what I can gather, and doesn't the characters have a premonition that's not to go on them or something. I don't really know too much about them, to be honest. So I'll have to check those out. Those Final Destination movies. Kevin William Wardle, she was in The Ghoul too. Alexandra Bastido, you mean, or Veronica Carlson? No, Veronica Carlson was in The Ghoul. Tony saying, I have most of the ITC series, good adventure stories. I see Old Gold Media are releasing the first series of The Sweeney with a new 2025 Blu-ray transfer. Your Nick, oh yeah, that's right, they are, yeah. Most probably do it Minder as well. Brian Gilson, I recently got Phantoms on 4K. It's a good film, but yeah, based on the Dean Koontz novel. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've only seen clips of that, and I've only read a little bit of the Dean Koontz novel, so I'll have to check both out. Yeah, Phantoms. Yeah, he made a few movies of it. He made a few films of his books, haven't he, Dean R. Koontz? Yeah, he's written loads. Yeah, but I didn't like that Signs at all, guys. It was really boring. You know, Mel Gibson, really boring. It was. Have you guys seen it? What did you think of it? Really bad. You know, Nosferatu was, you know, as much as low as my opinion was of Nosferatu, I thought it was much better than that bloody Signs and that. You know, as I say, there was some aspects of Nosferatu that I did like. As I said, that you know, I like the way the fellow that made it, he was Eggers, he was accurate for all the getting everything exact and that, you know, artifacts of the time and that, you know, and all the atmosphere of that particular period in history. Did a great job. I watched the extras and that, and he's very, very meticulous, you know, getting everything spot on and that, you know. But yeah, it was more of a love story for me, guys. It was more of a kind of, I didn't like the possession thing in it either. You know, the girl getting possessed. It was very reminiscent of The Exorcist, you know. I think it's that getting a bit done to death now, the possession genre and that. You need to move on and do something different, you know. But yeah, I'd say that, and the colour as well. Part of it was like, I always call it like a dirty dishwater colour, you know, because the colour didn't really impress me much, you know. So, but there you go. I've seen it now, so. Vampire Jack saying, I prefer Koontz to King. Oh, really? You rate him better than Stephen King? I haven't really read all that many Dean Koontz novels, so very, very few. But as Stephen King, I've read basically everything he's ever written. Excuse me. Yeah, I've got his latest one there, Holly. I've got to read yet, Stephen King. He seems to be developing that character, doesn't he? More and more with each new novel. He's bringing out Holly, you know, another Holly one, and this latest one where he's doing Holly's in it again. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he made a TV series called Holly, because he seems to think a lot about, you know, he seems to love that character, doesn't he? Doing new stories about, like, she helped, like, she first appeared in Mr. Mercedes, didn't she? She was helping out Bill was it Bill Hodges, the retired copper, and he gave her her own story then. And she's basically really outgrown Mr. Mercedes, hasn't she? Yeah. David Mitchell. Not many remember Jack Palance playing Dracula. I do. I had it on Blu-ray, and I have to say, it's one of the worst portrayals of Count Dracula I've ever seen. It wasn't at least a bit frightening. Seeing him when I watched them, when I watched them as Count Dracula, I automatically thought of all the westerns I've seen him in over the years and gangster films, and that stayed in my mind. So it seemed a little bit laughable, and donning the Dracula cloak and that, you know, putting the fangs in and that, you know, didn't do anything for me, I'm afraid. You know, the old John Carradine Dracula thought was better. Didn't do nothing for me, so I got rid of it. I got rid of it right away. Like the Frank Langella Dracula, that didn't do anything for me either. It just wasn't scary, not like Christopher Lee, you know. So I've got any Dracula movies where I think it's a poor, very, very poor imitation of Christopher Lee's. They either get given to CX or put on eBay, or just basically given away, you know, because I don't keep Dracula or any kind of horror movie that doesn't, you know, touch a chord with me, you know, just get rid of it. Richard Brown, have you seen any Don Dola films? Never heard of him, Richard. But what movies has he made? Don Dola? No. I tell you what I am looking for. I can't wait to get, guys. It's coming on Saturday. A lovely big book about the films of Mario Bava. Any Mario Bava fans here? Oh, it's a lovely book. It's like the one I've got of Dario Argento. Lovely big book on that, you know, all packed with stills and that, and loads and loads of information all about his movies and that. Mario Bava. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably do what's the name on the other channel, the Alan Toner Horror Writer channel. I might do it a review of that. Yeah, so I love me horror movie books. I used to, when I was a kid, I was always a teenager. I was always going to the local library after school and renting out, borrowing out, I should say, library books, like particularly if the appertains of like the horror movie genre, you know. But there's been some great books over the years, particularly those ones by Jonathan Rigby, the Gothic trilogy, you know, English Gothic, Italian Gothic, and American Gothic. I highly recommend them if you like your horror movies and that, a lot of information. Check out Jonathan Rigby's books; they're great. Yeah, and the Dark Side ones as well. The spin-offs of the Dark Side magazine, the special editions, they're lovely. Them loads and loads of stills in them and that, you know, packed with a wealth of information. You know, great books. And the Fright Fest ones as well, they're good. Right, getting some comments back in now, guys. Scroll, but I don't want to miss anybody out, you see. Kevin's saying, he's saying M. Night Shyamalan is very overrated, right? Tony's saying the Jack Palance version is one I've not seen. You're not missing much. But as I always say, that's just my opinion. You know, I don't like to... you know, like, guys, when I review a movie and that, and you know, I've gone into a couple of rants a few times about how much I hate a movie. I'm not aiming to put you off it. I always say, if you want to go and watch it yourself or rent it out, you see it for yourself. I'm just saying what I thought of it, and sometimes I can't hold back. It's just like the woke nonsense. If anything really, you know, it's a bit inflammatory for me, I'll speak my mind, you know, and I won't pull any punches. If I don't like anything, I'll say so, you know. But yeah, I don't try to, you know, force my views on anybody and say, don't buy it, you waste your money, because you might like it. You know, I've said, like, many a movie I haven't liked and other people have liked it. It's all down to personal taste, guys. At the end of the day, one man's meat is another man's poison, you know. So yeah, I don't profess to be an arbiter of what to watch and what not to watch. I just give my opinion, and you can take it or leave it. So yeah, I think that's the best way, really. Brian Gilson, I think the Jack Palance Dracula was directed by the man who made Dark Shadow TV series. I think so. Yeah. If my memory serves me correctly, I think you're right there, Brian. That's it. Dan Curtis. Yeah. Richard Brown. Dan Curtis. That's the guy. Yeah. Dan Curtis. Yeah. Brian's saying, basically echoing what I've just said. That's him, Richard. Yeah. Brian's saying, do you like the From Dusk Till Dawn films? I've never seen them, Brian, to be honest. I'll have to check them out. Yeah. Are they kind of like westerns, are they? They've got like a western background because they're set in the West. And yeah, I'm not really a big western fan. Yeah, I do love the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, though, and the Fistful of Dollars. I love them. They're my favourite westerns. But yeah, I like a couple of John Wayne's westerns, but I'm not really a big western fan, you know. So I don't know about them. Richard Brown saying Dan Curtis did the Kolchak films as well. I think he did. Yeah. I like the first one, the very first one, where he's after the vampire. Yeah, the Night Stalker. I didn't like the Night Strangler. I bought the as well as the movies. I bought the Kolchak TV series, guys, on Blu-ray, and I did not like it. It was rubbish, absolute rubbish. It was boring, drab. Characters were plastic, you know, not exciting, so I let it go. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't like the Kolchak series. It was terrible. The humor, put humor in it as well. I didn't like the humor in it. Brian's saying, I think he did those along with the trilogy of terror films. Oh, right, yeah, I like the trilogy of terror films. Yeah, Karen Black. Richard Brown to Brian, that's right. Okay. Brian saying the third From Dusk Till Dawn film is a western, but the first two are set in modern day. Oh, right, yeah. I might check them out. I'll see. James F is saying, okay, James, did you like the cinematography of The Devil Rides Out? I love the cinematography of The Devil Rides Out. Yeah, lovely movie, lovely colour, as a emblematic of Hammer. They did a great job with the colour and that, those movies. That's what I was saying when I reviewed Nosferatu. A lot of these modern movies, they can't recapture that lovely crisp colour, Eastman colour, what those old horror movies did, and that in such profusion and that, but yeah, I love The Devil Rides Out. It's one of my all-time favourite Hammer films, and of course the colour, as I've just said, was absolutely pristine. Yeah. Right, just waiting for some more comments then, guys. So, but any of you guys got any plans for Easter holiday? Doing anything nice? Going anywhere and that? Having any parties or? I'm sure you'll all you'll all have an Easter egg or two along the way. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I've enjoyed it anyway, guys. So far, it's it's nice to be back on a Thursday night and that. So if I do them every couple of weeks and that, I think it's best to do it that way because it keeps them fresh and that. So you watch films and that you've got a lot to talk about then, haven't you? So, but yeah, I say it's great to be back. Yes, I'm looking forward to getting that Mario Bava book. Looks of beauty. You get some real good. If you really look deep, if you sort of like funnel down deep, you can get some great horror books and that. For bargains and that. I love me horror books. Yeah, always been fascinated by movies and that. What makes the actors tick and that, and the background and that. And all the anecdotes. I love all that. And Brian's saying, really enjoying the stream. Oh, that's good to know, Brian. I am too. We have a great community. We do indeed, yeah. Do you recommend any good Easter horror films? Now, it's funny you should say that. I was contemplating doing a video. I recommended Easter horror films, and I can't think of one that I've liked. I did have one called Easter Bunny Massacre, which was very pants, yeah. But apart from that, Easter horror movies. Oh yeah, you got to really struggle to think a horror movie set have a bearing on Easter. As I say, like you've got the bunnies, like the Bunny Massacre films. I think they made about 3 or 4 of them. So maybe they could be put in a video, like saying like this is just like what I've seen on the internet, and what I might check out myself. And if you guys want to check them out, but yeah, it's that quite tricky one to do, that one, Easter horror movies. Kevin's saying they've updated the effects in The Devil Rides Out. Oh yeah, I heard something about that. It was something to do with the spider, messing around with the spider. I don't know why they can't leave the bloody films alone. I really can't. That's another thing I don't like, guys. Aside from movies, they're messing around with the classic albums now, aren't they? The Beatles and that, and some of Elvis's. They're putting like new tracks on them. They're doing it with Jim Reeves as well, taking away like that sort of like overdubbing the sound and that, making it more modern. I don't agree with all that. I like it the album is the way it was done at the time. I don't like them messing around with the overdubbing and that. Yeah, they should leave things alone. Leave parts of history. Leave it alone, for goodness sake. Richard Brown, have you read any Dennis Wheatley novels? No, I found them a little bit, what's the name, to be honest, a little bit too, they go on a little bit like, don't they, and that. I've tried to read The Devil Rides Out and that, and I couldn't get into it. They're very, very weirdy and that, a bit like Shakespeare's and that, yeah, so no, I've never read any Dennis Wheatley novels right through. Kevin's saying, I'm working tomorrow and Monday. Oh, right. So you working tomorrow and Monday. Oh, I presume you'll get a day off, will you? 2 days off, will you? For coming in on over the holiday period. Richard Brown, have you seen the Bunnyman films? Well, I've seen one called the Bunnyman Massacre. There's been a few, hasn't there? I don't think I've seen any of the others. I've seen the Bunnyman Massacre. Yeah, but apart from that, no, I don't really, not really familiar with them. Didn't like that Donnie Darko. Didn't like that at all. That had a rabbit in it, didn't it? Oh, bored, and that was really bored, and that. So, Yeah, as I say, guys, I'll go until about 10:30 if that's okay. And yeah, say anything at all about horror, movies, favorite horror actors, favorite horror books. Let's get some discussions going. And we've got James F saying the Blu-ray remaster of Holiday on the Buses was brilliant. I'll get you, Butler. I've got the what's the name of them? The imprints, the 3 movies and that. Yeah, I love that. I love that on the buses. I'll get you better. Come on, get this better. Come on. Oh yeah, he was iconic, Blakey, wasn't he? Yeah, I love on the buses. And Stan and Jack, what they got up to and that, Yeah, so I've watched the first on the buses, but of course I've seen them before, all 3 of them over the years, many times. But I've got to check the other 2 Blu-rays out in the imprint set. But yeah, I don't think they could ever recapture that. If they tried to remake it, they couldn't recapture the quality. Most probably be peppered with foul language and that. Yeah, it wouldn't be the same. Brian Gilson, the only Easter film I can think of is Holiday, the anthology film. I've got an anthology movie, Brian, called Holidays. It's like it got different horror stories in each one of which pertains to a particular holiday of the year, like Christmas, Easter, Lent. I haven't watched it yet, so most probably when I've watched it, I might do a review of that. Yeah, so yeah, I've got that one. Richard Brown, The Haunting of Toby Jug by Dennis Wheatley was good. Don't know. I couldn't comment on that, Richard, because I don't know any. And I do know the novel, but I've never read it. So have they done a movie of that? But I've seen the novel on the library shelves for ages and that, but I didn't bother, borrowing it. Kevin's saying, I've got Works Night Out on Saturday nights. Oh, that's good. Yeah, don't get too drunk. Works Night Out. Yeah, I've had many of them myself in my time. Brian Gilson, That's TV channel on Sky starting to show the On the Buses spin-off show where Blakey and his sister go to Australia. I know that one. Don't Drink the Water, if my memory serves me correctly. And they've done another spin-off, Reg Varney's stand when he left. I think he was playing the same character. Was he playing a different one? Down the Gate, where he's working in Billingsgate, the fish market. Down the Gate. Yeah, I'm not too sure now. Was he playing Stan or was he playing a different character? Does anybody remember that one with Reg Varney in? It came on about 75 or 76. Down the Gate. You can get the DVD of it, but there's not many episodes. A lot of episodes didn't survive. They got destroyed. But I do remember it being on. Down the Gate. He was working in Billingsgate. He had this hat on, like a Mexican hat. So if any of you guys kind of like me on Down the Gate, I'd be very interested. They've done a few spin-offs of those shows, haven't they? Yeah, they done one of Are You Being Served, didn't they? Grace and Favour. They done one of them. Yeah, and Only Fools and Horses. They done one of that, didn't they? Spin-off of that. Man About the House, Robin's Nest. That was a spin-off. And George and Mildred. One of my favourites, George and Mildred, yeah. Giz Parsons, hi Alan. You okay, Giz? Thanks for turning up. Nice to see you. To see you, nice. The old Brucey would say, yeah. Always a highlight to watch Saturday night watching the Bruce Forsyth's Generation Game, guys, in the 70s. That was my #1 show on a Saturday night when I was growing up. I used to love the Generation Game. I would have loved to have gone on it and that, yeah. And Anthony Redfern. Oh, I had a big crush on him, I tell you. Yeah, he was a lucky man, wasn't he, Brucey? And that, his current wife's nice, isn't she? Will Neelia? Yeah, she's very attractive. I loved Anthony Redfern. He used to say, "Give me a twirl," and she'd turn around, do a twirl, and that. Yeah, very pretty girl. Yeah, I think she was. I'm always saying she's a Busey queen or something. That's how he met her. But yeah, I loved Anthea. Yeah, and of course when Brucey left, Larry Grayson took over, didn't he? He didn't do a bad job. I like Larry. Yeah, I met Larry Grayson in Liverpool in was it 1979 when he done his Parlour Fun book and that. But I didn't. I was a bit naughty because I didn't have the book on me. So I just came up to him and said, "You sign a bit of paper, an autograph." He didn't say nothing. He just signed it, gave me a smile and that. Thought, well, perhaps I should have bought his book, But I did get his book eventually and that. And I've got a couple of letters. I've got a letter from Bruce Forsyth. He wrote to me. That's what he was doing and that. I've still got it somewhere. He said he was going to do a new show, Play Your Cards Right. Yeah. So got that. Got one from Mike Yarwood. Got one from it. I used to love writing to the celebrities. It was a thing I went through in the 70s, guys. Used to write to me, I wrote to James Davis, I got a reply off him. Clive Barker, he made Hellraiser. He sent me a lovely letter, 3 and 4 page letter, all about advising me, horror writing and that, yeah. Who else? I met Noel Edmonds when he opened the Magic Merry-Go-Round in Liverpool. Yeah, the memories are coming in now, guys. Talking about all these famous people I've met. Noel Edmonds, saw Leslie Crowder in Blackpool on The Price is Right, but I didn't go on the show. I just seen him in the streets getting his photograph taken and that. Yeah. Other people I've seen Jim Davidson in Blackpool. I haven't met him. What's the name? I've seen Jerry Marsden, Cannon and Ball. Yeah. But yeah, I treasure those letters, guys, from the celebrities and that, particularly the one from Bruce Forsyth and the one from Mike Yarwood and that, Mike Yarwood was my favourite impressionist when I was growing up in the 70s. I loved Mike Yarwood, yeah. He did a lot of political figures, granted, but he also did a lot of Hollywood. I used to like when he used to take Step Two off and that, and Frank Spencer. Yeah, spot on with his impressions and that. Yeah, I tell you, the memories are coming back. I've got his show, Mike Yarwood. I've got all the best of Mike Yarwood, the one with Abbott in as well, Christmas 1978, which is a great show. But I'd love to see them really saw the Generation Game on DVD in a box set. I'd get all them. They started to put them on YouTube and that, Brucey and that, and the Larry Grayson as well. And then Brucey came back again, didn't he, in the 90s to do it again with Miss Ford, Rosemary Ford. What's on the board, Miss Ford? Sorry, guys, I can't resist some of these impressions. They just creep in every now and then. But yeah, the Generation Game, fantastic. I loved what's the name as well, Morecambe and Wise. I've got all their shows as well. Anyway, back to the comments. Getting carried away there with nostalgic TV. Kevin's saying, I wished Hammer had mixed a bit of horror in one of the On the Buses films. Yeah, definitely. A lot of people didn't know. Kev, that Hammer made On the Buses. They're quite surprised that, some people have said, oh, did they make On the Buses? Yeah, he certainly did. Richard Brown, Oliver was a bit of a monster. He used to get under half the skin about his operation. Don't talk about my operation. She always moaning, wasn't she, about something in the bed and that, That was good. When she was having a baby, one of the films and that, and he put it in the bloody sidecar in the motorbike, and it split, didn't it? One went one way, one went the other. Oh, I watched that on the picture. It was doubled up laughing. Oh, it was hilarious. Tony's saying, I have that spin-off of Don't Drink the Water. Not as good as the Buses. No, it's not. I found that, guys, a lot of these spin-offs not as good as on the buses, original, like, these spin-offs like, Are You Being Saved, Grace and Favour, they're not as good. Think Down the Gate had him as a different character. That's right. I think he was a different character. Yeah, I thought he was playing Stan at first, but no, you're right. He's playing a different character. He was Stanish in some respect, wasn't he? Very Stanish, to coin a phrase, very Stanish. In some parts of it. He was in the rag trade as well, Reg Barney, wasn't he, before him? I've got to tell you what, guys, I've got a great little film of him. It's a really good one. He plays like this, he's like a kind of vaudeville performer. The best pair of legs in the business. It's a great little movie. It's quite sad as well. His wife's a bit of a cheat. She cheats on him and that, humiliates him. It's a great movie. It's a great little movie. Yeah, The Best Pair of Legs in the Business. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you get it. Great one it is. I used to like his show as well. Very, very talented. He could play the piano good as well, Reg Barney, yeah. Great he was. I love he used to have that cheeky grin he used to have, especially when he was going after the Clippies and that, when he's pulling Blakey's leg. Great character. I would rank him up there with Del Boy as Immortal TV Creations, great. Excuse me, Frank Spencer, people like that. Kevin, he was in the rag trade. He was in the rag trade, yeah, as I just said, with the fella who take Mr. Digby Darling. Was it Peter Jones? He was in Mr. Digby Darling with Sheila Hancock. James F. Did anybody remember John Pertwee on Noel Edmonds' Gotcha? No, I didn't see that one. No, I missed that one. The John Pertwee. I remember John Pertwee hosting that show. Was it Cluedo? Sort of like Cluedo. We had to guess who the killer was. Who done it? Was it Who Done It? I remember him hosting that. John Pertwee. I loved him. I tell you what, I love John Pertwee and guys. That segment in The House That Dripped Blood, where he played the arrogant horror actor. Oh, he was a swine, wasn't he? Yeah, he was throwing his weight around on the set and that, you know, the part where he gives a nod to Christopher Lee and Bela Lugosi. He said, like, you can't beat the famous monsters, and he stares like into space wistfully, like, you know, Dracula, Frankenstein, the mummy, Dracula, and then he says, not that new fella, of course, the old Dracula, like a little nod, humorous nod to Christopher Lee. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, I think the character he plays in it, John Pertwee, is a guy called Paul Henderson, if my memory serves me correctly. And I tell you, I like him now as well, guys. He's great in it. He's in the Framing Story. John Bennis, great actor. He was in that Market series as well. It was like a bit like Coronation Street. It was only on for a few episodes in the 60s, but John Bennis, he played the inspector, and he's very cynical. If you haven't seen the House of Dripped Blood, if you've seen the House of Dripped Blood, you know what I mean. He didn't believe all these people died as a result of the evil in the house, so he goes to investigate the house. I won't tell you guys what happens in case you haven't seen it, but if you love your horror anthologies, check out The House That Dripped Blood. John Pertwee, one of his best roles he's ever played as the arrogant horror actor Paul Henderson. Great movie, I love it. Giz Parsons, Rising Damp is still hilarious, yeah. I'm surprised they still show it. Yeah, it's great, Rising Damp, isn't it? Yeah, Rigsby. Remember him in that advert, a lot of Leonard Rossiter said with Joan Collins, where they're on the airplane and they're drinking and that fancy drinks, and all of a sudden the seat goes back and Joan Collins goes back and the drink spills over her dress, and he says, "Oh, getting your head down, sweetie, jolly good idea." Yeah, it's great. That was on for ages, that one. Yeah. He's good. He was good, Leonard Rossiter. When they pranked him and the caller shouted, "You said it was." When they pranked him, you're talking about John Pertwee now on Noel Evans Has Got You. When they pranked him and the caller shouted, "You said it was Peter Cushing." I didn't see that. Brian Gilson, I love the Rising Damp episode where they think they have a ghost. That's a good one, that. Yeah. There's another similar episode in Bless This House with Sid James. I don't know if any of you guys are fans of that, where they do a seance. That's quite funny as well. Bless This House, yeah. Richard Brown, I met Terry Pratchett. Oh, did you? Oh, right. Did you? Was that like a book signing, or was it another set of circumstances? I haven't read it. I know Terry Pratchett, but I've never read his book. He does Discworld, doesn't he? The Discworld series. Giz Parsons, things that go bump in the night. Right. Zammy Adams, evening, Alan and everyone. You okay, Zammy? Thanks for turning up. Nice to see you. Tony saying Mike Yarwood was good with his impressions of Ted Weed and Harold Wilson. He got them spot on, didn't he? Yeah. He used to pull his leg when Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister in 1979, didn't he? He said, "What are you going to do now?" And he got Janet Brown, didn't he, to come in and play Margaret Thatcher. And it's a great little sketch what he does there, where Michael plays Michael Parkinson interviewing Margaret Thatcher. And when she comes on, I think it's in the ABBA, one with ABBA in the TV special 1978, and she comes on, and she calls the people applauding, and she says, "Oh, please, don't get up." Grace, yeah. Mike Yarwood is fantastic. The best impressionist I've ever seen in my whole life. Rosemary Ford had a lovely pair of legs. So did Anthony Redfern. No, if I was to pick between the two, Rosemary was nice, but I did like Anthea. She was a lovely looking girl. I wonder Brucey married her. Yeah. Nice smile as well, and that, very pretty girl. Yeah. I love the Generation Game. I used to like it when the Brother Lees used to come on. They were on a few times, weren't they? The three guys used to do impressions, that and Max Wall and that. Yeah, they were on quite a few times. I think they were on when Larry Grayson hosted it as well. Yeah, he had his own way of hosting it, didn't he? He didn't. What I liked about him, he didn't copy Brucey. He done it his own way, didn't he? He'd read out that. I used to love that part when he used to get the contestants on and he'd have a little piece of paper and he'd read out and he'd make a joke about it and he'd look at the camera like that knowingly, Brucey did it and Larry carried it on. Yeah, but they did it their own way, didn't they? Brucey had his own way of doing it. And when Brucey left to do Bruce's Big Night, Larry Grayson took it and he had his own way with Ira Sinclair. Yeah, Yeah, I used to watch it on Christmas Day, the Christmas Day edition. Love the Generation Game. I think it's one of the best series that's ever been on. They tried to revive it, didn't they, a couple of years ago with those two women. It didn't really do anything for me, guys. It didn't take off, did it? You need somebody like Brucey to do that, like the show like that, or indeed Larry Grayson. I think Bradley Walsh should do a good job of it. I think he'd do a good job of doing the Generation Game because he's very down to earth. He's very quick, and he's quick on, he's quick on the uptake, isn't he? Someone like Bradley Walsh, yeah. But Brucey, it was this show, wasn't it? And when you think of the Generation Game, you think of Bruce Forsyth, don't you? Yeah, fantastic TV. When the programs were so good, weren't they? In the 70s, you didn't want to go out on the town, did you? When seeing the telly was good, I think I'll stay in tonight. And if the weather was a bit bad outside, oh yeah, watch the telly and that, because you get one good thing on after another. You get the Generation Game on about 6:20 or whatever, and then you get Juliet Bravo, Morecambe and Wise, show Thriller, Brian Clements in the early 70s. Yeah, Saturday night was such a feast of fun. It really was. It's gone terrible now. That Britain's Got Talent, guys. I've got off that. It's gone terrible. That. Getting sub stories on it now, and it's more polished now and that. And it's supposed to be about Britain's Got Talent, and he's getting people acts from abroad who's already got contracts from what I've heard and that. Yeah, it's gone terrible. That. It's Amy Adams, Carry On Up the Holocaust, Carry On Up the Holocaust, the Carry On film that got away. Yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely not a laughing matter, that is it. Richard Brown, Edward Woodward hosted one series of Whodunits. I don't remember him hosting that. I love Edward Woodward and The Wicker Man. And Callan, of course, great actor, Edward Woodward. Yeah, Tony's referring to the House of Drip Blood here, where he says John Pertwee got his comeuppance from Ingrid Pitt, and that he certainly did. Oh God, he was great in that, John Pertwee. My favourite Doctor. I'm not a big Doctor Who fan, but if I was to pick my favourite Doctor, it would be John Pertwee because it was his series I watched the most. Yeah. Watched a bit of Tom Baker, but I did like his John Pertwee's portrait. It was so matter of fact, wasn't he, about it now? No nonsense Doctor, wasn't he? Yeah, very, very dedicated to getting rid of evil and that. Brian Gilson, hi Sammy. Okay, got half an hour to go, guys. So I'd say I'll log off at 10:30 and that. But anything at all you want to ask me, discuss, don't feel free to do so within reason. Brian's saying, "Are you being served? Are you being served? Film is really good. It is, yeah, it is good, yeah. I'm free." Yeah, Mr. Lucas, he was the right character, wasn't he? He was always after Miss Brahms. Yeah, they again, just like on the buses, a great cast, a great lineup, and that young Mr. Grace, yeah, and Captain Peacock. Oh yeah, they were all great characters. Mrs. Slocum talking about her pussy. Don't even get me started on Felix the Cat, on Fritz the Cat. James F. The weirdest comedy film I've ever seen was The Magic Christian. I remember that being on the telly. 1968. John Cleese and Peter Sellers, Spike Milligan and Ringo Starr. Yeah, as Peter Sellers' son. Very funny and surreal comedy. I've only seen it once. Yeah, I do remember that. The late 60s. Yeah. Richard Brown. Tom Baker's a Scouser too. I believe he is, Richard. Yeah, he is a Scouser. Tom Baker. I tell you what I like Tom Baker in. Here's another example of guys, of a Doctor Who star appearing in an Amicus anthology. You most probably remember, if you've seen a movie called The Vault of Horror, Tom Baker plays in one segment. Tom Baker plays this artist and that, he wants to be fantastic, doing paintings and that, because he gets a lot of criticism by these stuffy critics. And he gets involved with voodoo. And he's going to put his hand in this boiling water, what this native is staring at. And the native says, you don't need no doll. You're a painter. So he puts his hands in the boiling water. And when he does portraits of the critics, and he gets killed off in the most grisly ways imaginable, really horrific deaths. That's a great one, that. Yeah. He even does a portrait of himself. And it's like it's in this like study, and I think there's workmen or something on the roof. And maybe says, something's gonna come through the glass roof and smash it, and he knows that. Or it's either that, or it's locked in a vault in a safe, and he's sweating that. He's got to get to it before he dies. I think that's it. They put the painting in a safe, and it has effect on him. You see, with him painting with his voodoo hands, he experienced the effects of what's happening to the painting. Well, you know what I mean, guys. If you're seeing it, Vaults of Horror, that's a great one. James saying, yes, he's from Vauxhall, I believe, right? Tony saying, I watched Vaults of Horror for the first time quite recently. Very enjoyable. Yeah, the Terry Thomas episode as well. That's a good one. Well, they're all good, aren't they? Yeah, I love Vaults of Horror. Yeah, they just go down in this lift and that, and they're trapped in this room, and they start telling nightmares, don't they? Great. You can't beat those guys, those Amicus anthologies. I love them. I can watch them anytime. Excuse me. I can watch them anytime. You know, I'd rather watch them than some of this. A lot of this dross that's out now, these teenagers in and that, you know, same old formulaic storylines and that, you know. But those Amicus movies and as the Hammer, they done something different, didn't they? You know, it was they were just fantastic. Yeah, no getting away from it. Richard Brown, was it called Drawn and Quartered? I think that might be the title. A lot of those stories were taken from the old EC horror comics, weren't they? You know, Vaults of Horror, Tales from the Crypt. You know, they were all taken from them, like the Joan Collins one, the Santa Claus one, all from the old EC horror comics of the 1950s, which they tried to ban. God, bloody censors. Yeah, but yeah, fantastic. I watched that Creep the other night, guys. The one with the I've done a review of it. Like, you must probably know if you've seen it. The girl that gets trapped on the underground station late at night, and she encounters this hideous, like, mutant creature, you know, deep in the bowels of the underground railway station. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I've actually sent off with that other one from the 1976. Deathline, because I've only ever seen that once, and I wanted to get it for my collection, so that's on its way. So it should come in time for me pickups video at the end of April. Yeah, again, centering around horrific happenings in the railway station late at night. Christopher Lee's in that, but he's only in it for about 5 minutes. He's dressed like this stiffy businessman with a bowler hat on. You know, you only see him for about 5 minutes. Donald Pleasance is in it. So Deathline, if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend that one. Deathline. But Creep's great. It's a great one. Great railway horror movie. James F. saying, would you say Peter Cushing was the definitive Dr. Frankenstein? Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. Even though, granted, the Frankenstein series didn't actually, you know, respect continuity, if you know what I mean. The first couple did, but then they went off into separate stories. Like Evil Frankenstein was like a retelling, wasn't it? Of it, like, he was more good in that one. He was a more virtuous character, wasn't he? In Evil Frankenstein, he wasn't as wicked as he was in the Curse of Frankenstein. He was an absolute, I should say, an absolute bastard. He wasn't that, as he was in Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, but he stabbed poor Veronica Carlson in the stomach. Or really evil he was in that one. He was more evil than the monster. Well, in two of them actually. But yeah, I would say that Peter Cushing was the definitive Dr. Frankenstein, closely followed by Colin Clive. Yeah, Colin Clive was good, playing Henry Frankenstein in the two Boris Karloff Frankenstein movies, Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, I like Colin Clive. Yeah, he was good. He was a good one. But Peter Cushing is the definitive Baron Frankenstein for me, no question. And the definitive Van Helsing as well, if you want to include Dracula's part in the Hammer canon. Richard Brown, have you got a favourite Joan Collins horror film? Yeah, Tales from the Crypt. I've got a couple of airs. Like, I Don't Want to Be Born, The Night of the Empire of the Ants, which is a beautifully coloured movie. I might do a review of that when I've watched it. Yeah, I've got a couple of airs, but she's in segments like Tales of Witness Madness, that one I've spoke about a few times. Michael Jaston, he cuts the tree down, he brings it into the house, much to his wife's chagrin, Joan Collins, and he just talks to the tree. Do you love me? Do you love? I think that's hilarious, that one. Yeah, but I do like Joan Collins. Yeah, she's a great actress. Brian's saying, I recently watched a program on YouTube about the Curse of the Omen films. It makes you wonder if it was a Curse production. I've heard a few stories about that. Yeah, and The Exorcist as well. Strange things happened in that. Yeah, I had one the other night, guys, called it was similar to The Exorcist and The Omen. Have any of you guys heard of a movie starring Shirley MacLaine called The Possession of Joelle Delaney? The Possession of Joelle Delaney, made in 1972. Without giving too much away, it's a kind of a possession schizophrenic story centering on this guy. He's sort of like, you think he's got possessed by the spirits of a serial killer, and he starts acting strangely and that, attacking people and that. And Shirley MacLaine plays his sister, and she's sort of like trying to get to the bottom of what's happened to her brother and that. Got quite a disturbing ending, guys, at the end and that. So yeah, it's really disturbing. Yeah, I believe a strange thing happened there, because Penny King, the guy who played the fellow who was possessed, he said, like, when they were having the fight scene with Shirley MacLaine, he said, I thought I'd go with it. I said to Shirley MacLaine, should we make it as if we're really fighting and that without being too, harmful? So she agreed to it, and he started really in earnest and that. And as he accidentally pushed her, and she hit her head or something. But before that happened, this is what Penny King said. I don't know how true it is. I'm only going by what he said. When he was play acting the fight, and it got a bit sort of like out of hand. And when he pushed her, she banged her head. But before that, just before that, he heard this voice from there was saying, cuss her or something. Like, and he said, I can't even remember pushing her and it hurting her. It just his mind went blank. Yeah. So he said that was a bit weird, and that what happened. He said he felt there was an evil spirit following him around. I don't know how true it is. Like, obviously I wasn't there, and this is the first time I've heard an account of what happened on that movie. But he said there was an evil spirit on the set. I don't know. That's what Penny King said. So if you get the Blu-ray of The Possession of Joelle Delaney and watch the actress in that, Bob, Shirley MacLaine's fantastic in that. And I believe like she was really gracious in that, because like when a couple of times Penny King made a couple of mistakes, he sort of like got in it. These big actors they have something like their space, and if you go over their space, their eyeline or something, you don't like it. But he did accidentally, but she never told him off. She was quite gracious about it. So she sounded a nice person, like Shirley MacLaine. She made some great movies and that. Loved it in the one with Clint Eastwood in, Two Mules for Sister Sarah, and of course the other one, Sweet Charity. Yeah, great actress, Shirley MacLaine. Very much into her spiritualism as well. Yeah. Richard Brown, they said Rosemary's Babies was cursed too. Yeah. Well, look what happened with Roman Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate. That was weird, wasn't it? She was horribly butchered and that. And Rosemary's Baby connections and that, But yeah, I've heard a few stories about that. Rosemary's Baby was cursed. And Poltergeist as well. Brian's saying, I've got to go now. Got to be up earlier tomorrow. I've really enjoyed the stream and talking to you. I'm glad to hear that, Brian. Cheers, mate. Yeah, really enjoyed talking to you all. Hope everyone has a great weekend and Easter. Yeah, same to you, Brian. And hope you have a great DVD shopping trip on Saturday. Oh, thanks very much, Brian. Yeah, you have a nice Easter. Best wishes to you and your family. And yeah, all going well. Hope to talk to you again very, very soon. Very soon. Take care, Brian. Cheers, mate. James F. saying it's difficult to imagine them making the Hammer films nowadays. It just wouldn't feel the same in the modern day. No. Also, which actors could really do those roles justice in respect to the classics? Yeah, I totally agree with you. They wouldn't be the same, even if they'd done the Amicus. I believe Amicus is starting up again, but I'm not really excited about it, guys. How many times have I been disappointed when they remade a classic horror movie or brought up a classic horror character back in another story? I can count the number of times on one hand that I've been impressed. It's they should leave they should think of new things, shouldn't they? They shouldn't rehash old ground. They're going to make a bloody dog's breakfast of it. Nosferatu, and I did it with Nosferatu, and I didn't like that, so they should leave the old films alone. They did the same with The Exorcist, didn't they? That one that was released the Halloween, it's just leave the old movies alone, just make something new. Richard Brown, Shirley MacLaine is a bit sad. Yes, she's into all that. I've read she's into it. She believes in from what I've read anyway, she believes in all that spiritualism lark and that. Richard's saying, bye, Brian. Tony York. Polanski's The Tenant is a weird one, but I found it quite enjoyable. Oh, you like that one, did you, too? I couldn't get into that. I found it a bit slow. I got that on Blu-ray last year. I wanted to like it, but I tell you what, I do love one of his movies, Repulsion. I think that's a great one, that. Black and white. I think it was made in 1965. It's a great one, that Repulsion. Yeah, Catherine Deneuve. Yeah, it's she's a right screwball. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. Yeah. Yeah, Ian Henry's in it as well. Yeah, it's great. Repulsion. Yeah, I'll have to do a review of that. I like him, Roman Polanski in Dance of the Vampires as well, where he co-stars with his wife, Sharon Tate. That's a good one, Dance of the Vampires, or his other title, Pardon Me, But Your Teeth Are in My Neck. It had a few titles, that one, yeah. Love the snowy settings in that. Richard Brown, love the Tenants, right? Okay, guys, we've got a quarter of an hour to go. So as I say, I'll get through as many comments as I can before I close for the night. And yet again, you know, discuss anything at all appertaining to horror. You know, all-time favorites horror movies, what you really, really hated and bored your sense of. That would be a good topic. Your most boring horror movies you've ever watched, and see if anybody agrees with you. You know, so yeah, let's get a good discussion going before I go at 10:30. Tony York, great actress, Catherine Deneuve, yeah. Have a fair few of her films, yeah. She's easy on the eyes, well, isn't she? Yeah, love Catherine Deneuve. Richard Brown saying, great cast and Repulsion. Yep. James F. Does anybody remember The Tingler with Vincent Price? Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, something touched my legs then. No, I'm only joking, guys. What I meant there was, you know, when that Tingler was released on the cinema, they had this gimmick. William Castle had this gimmick when people were sitting in the cinema. He had this buzzer thing or something. I don't know the full story of how he set it up, but when in certain parts of the movie, the jump scares, he'd activate this machine, and people would jump in their seat. There was something on the leg and that, you know, touching the legs. That's why I went like that. It was like a kind of like a facetious nod, if you will, to what happened in The Tingler. I love The Tingler. It's a great one. Yeah, it's great. Tony's asking me, have you seen The Hunger with her and David Bowie? It's funny you should say that. So just last week when I was at HMV, I picked up that new movie set of movies. It's got The Hunger in it. It's got what's the other one? Blood Troop, Blood, Innocent Blood. What's the other two on it? Is it The Wolf and The Hunger's one of them? Yeah, it's got 4 or 5 horror movies in it. I got it at HMV last week for about 24 quid, and The Hunger's one of them. I haven't seen The Hunger, so I'm looking forward to watching that one. James F. saying it's a great cinematic classic by William Castle. Also did The House on Haunted Hill. Yes, I love The House on Haunted Hill. Great one. I've got the first Indicator box set with William Castle. I did get the second William Castle box set, but I didn't like the movies. There was a lot of duds in them, guys, so I let that go. Yeah, but the first one's great. It really is. Yeah, there's one there where you do the Ouija board in. Yeah, I forget the name of it, but it was spooky. Yeah, do the Ouija board in the house. Yeah, that's a good one as well. Mr. Sardonicus, where he's got like a bit like The Man Who Laughs. He's got a deformity. His face is deformed, and he gets this doctor or something to try and fix it. He's got his wife captured, tied up, and if he doesn't fix his face, he's going to kill his wife. Oh, that's a great one, that Mr. Sardonicus. Yeah, based on a story by Ray Russell, I believe. Richard Brown is asking me, what is your favorite Vincent Price film? Oh, now you're asking. I've got so many. Oh God, let me think of the best ones. Theatre of Blood, one of the most scary ones. I won't mention the poodle pie scene. Oh God, The Witchfinder General. There's so many Vincent Price's I love. I couldn't name my all-time favorite one, but The House of Wax, Dr. Phibes, the first one, not the second one. I thought the second one was a load of pants where he was in Egypt. Oh God, yeah, House on Haunted Hill. God, there's so many. Yeah, Madhouse, that's a good one. Yeah, but right up there, I would say The Witchfinder General, The House on Haunted Hill, Theatre of Blood, movies like that, you know, but great actor and that voice. Oh, God, great. Yeah, one of the best. I've enjoyed it tonight, guys. There's been some good topics broached. Tony saying Theatre of Blood has such a good cast of British actors. It certainly has, yeah. It's a who's who of, you know, classic British actors, isn't it? You know, you've even got Diana Rigg as well, playing as, is it his daughter or his granddaughter? Yeah. And I love the part where he gets dressed up in all the different, yeah, the one where he gets dressed up as the zany hairdresser with the 70s corkscrew wig. That's a good one, that. He roasted bloody Coral Brown. He roasted in the bloody hairdresser's chair. Yeah, and then the part where they dumps the fella in the bloody vat of wine upside down. Yeah, some gruesome kills and that. Yeah, early shades of Terrifier, methinks. Yeah, but oh yeah, that's one of his best stuff. Is the blood. James F saying, remember in the House of Long Shadows, and Vincent Price calls Christopher Lee a bitch. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, the House of the Long Shadows got a very, very controversial ending, that, hasn't it? Some people like it, some people loathe it. Yeah, it's a bit of a far-fetched ending. Like, it's a good movie, but the ending's a bit, I don't know. That was a good one I watched, guys. The one with Richard O'Sullivan in The Haunted House of Horror. I did a review of that recently. Yeah, it's a great one, that The Haunted House of Horror, with Frankie Avalon in. Yeah, Desi Arnaz was in The House of the Long Shadows, wasn't he? Yeah, pretty similar to the scenario what they threw Frankie Avalon in The Haunted House of Horror. Yeah. Richard saying Butch the hairdresser. Yeah, Butch the hairdresser. What I always noticed about Vincent Price, he always sent himself up, didn't he? He knew, like, there was a humorous side to horror, and he played it up, didn't he? The way he sort of, like, even when you see him on talk shows, like, he comes out with funny things about horror. He might say something like, I don't come to my house, I just might put you in a guillotine. I'm not saying they're the exact words, but he'd say things like that. He'd make a joke of it and that. Well, of course, like, I think that's why they used them for Michael Jackson's Thriller. He says, yeah, darkness falls across the land. Yeah, Grace. I love that part and that. Creatures crawl in search of blood. Again, guys, I'm sorry for the lame impressions and that, but just something I like to throw in every now and then. But yeah, it's a great one, that. But he was in The Fly as well, wasn't he? He was a goodie. You didn't often see Vincent play a goodie. No, he's very much into his cooking, wasn't he, and his art and that. Yeah, very, very cultured man, and very, very approachable by all accounts and that. His daughter spoke very well of him in terms of, like, his interactions with the public and that. He's always interested in what a person had to say. He wasn't one of these that said, can't be bothered, and you get them like that, don't you? A bit stuck up and that, and they're all full of themselves. But no, I'd like Boris Karloff. He was very, very generous and that, and very approachable. Like, as when actors used to go into his trailer and give him a knock and say, like, Mr. Karloff, oh yes, come in, certainly, come in. He's very, very receptive and that. He wasn't like a diva or anything like that. And it's totally different to the kind of creepy, horrific characters he played on screen. Totally different. Yeah. But oh yeah, when you think of all those old horror actors, guys, yeah, I'm sure, like me, you wish they were back again. Just think of the movies they would make now, and I bet you at some point, if Christopher Lee, if there was such thing as Eternal Youth and Christopher Lee was still about maybe 30, 40, I bet you Bottom Dollar did have him in a Dracula epic when he tried to take over the world. I bet you if he was willing to do it, make a big, really, maybe the last Dracula film with Christopher Lee, where he tried to take over, a bit more advanced than that the Satanic Rite of Dracula, was really at his full strength, and he wanted to, he infected everybody, vampires and that. I'm sure they do. If Christopher Lee was alive, he'd approach him with something like that, like a final, like a big, like an Exorcist, like playing Dracula, a big grand epic. Yeah, I'm sure he'd have done that. Wouldn't that have been great to have seen, And of course, and standing in the other corner, opposing him, would be Mr. Cushing, Van Helsing himself. Yeah, oh, that would be a great one. That he nearly succeeded with that with the Satanic Rite of Dracula, didn't he? It was pretty much very close to being a big epic. James F saying, I only just discovered the Kate Bush song Hammer Horror. Yeah, I remember it well. The other day, I didn't know it existed until then. She was very theatrical. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Hammer Horror. That's it. The way she sings it. Yeah, Kate Bush, Hammer Horror. I remember it. Yeah. Richard Brown, Vincent Price is on Welcome to My Nightmare by Alice Cooper. Oh, is he? Or does he do like a kind of like another like kind of like not to the horror genre, like doing a creepy voice? I've never heard. I've heard Welcome to My Nightmare once or twice, but I forgot Vincent Price was on. Was it? Does he come in at the end, or is he coming like intermittently? Right, guys, we've got just over 5 minutes to go, so I'll try and get through as many comments as I can before I clock off for the night. So, but it's been great. I've enjoyed the special Easter horror live stream. Some great subjects discussed and that. And I say it's always nice to come back, you know, a couple of weeks now on Thursday and talk about our number one love, the horror genre. We've got another comment here from KN. I went for 88's DVD of The Haunted House of Horror. It's not a good film, in my opinion. It probably had potential, but was ruined by the money men. Frankie Avalon was totally unnecessary. A lot of people said about Frankie Avalon, he stuck out like a bit of a sore thumb. But I didn't mind him. I thought he was all right. Some beautiful looking girls in it, guys. Oh yeah, really nice looking girls. Nice to see Richard O'Sullivan in it, playing one of the teenagers. But I tell you, one aspect of it, guys, I wasn't too keen on. The segment with George Sewell, where he was playing the copper and he was like playing a creepy stalker. I think they could have left that out because it didn't really contribute to the story, guys, in my opinion. I've discussed this in my video. It didn't contribute anything to the story. It was a bit flimsy. It was a bit lame. And it didn't really, as I say, it didn't really, it didn't really give any sort of like life to the story. You know, it was just like stuck in. You know, and that was it. He got killed off and that, you know, but yeah, they could have left that out. Just like that, I was watching another movie the night, Play Misty for Me, and there's one particular scene in that. I think you know what I'm going to say if you're familiar with my thoughts on that. The part where Clint Eastwood and his girlfriend go into the woods and he make love to that Roberta Flack the first time ever. Like, oh my God, that I didn't like that at all, guys. I believe, like Donna Mills even said herself, a lot of people when they saw it, they didn't like it. That it slowed the story down. I didn't like it. Yeah, I shared that opinion. They should have left that out. It did slow the story down. He goes into the woods and that, you know, like the romantic departure, and he ended up making love and that, you know. But yeah, the first time, it seems to go on forever. That. What do you guys think of that? It got time to say. What do you guys think of that movie, Misty, and that scene? The first time ever I saw you. Do you agree with me? It should have been left out. Do you think it was unnecessary? I certainly do. Yeah, let's discuss that before we go. Ruined the movie for me. Richard Brown, he's on a song called Black Widow. All right. James F, I'm not sure if anyone has heard the early Hawkwind albums, and I'm not really into them. Space Ritual, very heavily inspired from the 80s sounds and the Twilight Zone. I love the Twilight Zone. Very atmospheric show and groundbreaking. Yeah, all nice. There's a horror movie. I think it was Bryn of Horror Hands discussed it in one of his videos. Has anybody heard of a horror movie called Blood and Roses? It's about this rock group. Rock group feature heavily in it, and I don't know what happens. They get involved in the occult, and all strange things start happening. Blood and Roses, it's called, guys. Have any of you seen it? Involving a rock group. Let us know what you think about it. KN's asking me, Alan, have you seen Corruption? I love that movie, Corruption. It's one of Peter Cushing's best. I've got it on Blu-ray, yeah. Yeah, starring Peter Cushing, odd film, goes off the rails near the end. Oh, you mean the home invasion? I love that, though. It's horrific, though, with the light balls on her face, Sue Lloyd. I love Corruption. Yeah, it's one of my all-time favourites Peter Cushing movies, that. Oh, he's a swine in it now. He'll stop at nothing to, you know, fix his wife's face, will he? You know, he's he's really ruthless and that and vicious, yeah. Especially the part on the train. Oh, God, yeah. I love Corruption. It's great. Yeah, I got a couple of minutes left, guys. So as I say, like, yeah, that scene in Play Misty for Me, you know, what did you think of it? Like, did you think it should have been left out? It did add anything to the film? Just like the George Sewell one. Let me know, you know. But have you got a favourite Clint Eastwood movie? Anyway, try and get one in before we go, yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting the Face of the Arrow ones, the Fistful of Dollars, and getting the booklet with it as well. Fantastic. I most probably sell me Kino Lorber ones now. And I believe the picture quality is a big step up from the Kino Lorber. So that's something definitely to look forward to. Love those movies, the Dollar trilogies. I love them. They're just fantastic. Nice. Tony saying it's a good premise in Corruption, but the ending is a bit over the top. I know what you mean. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, it's one of those Marmite endings, isn't it? Enjoyable film overall, though, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a good movie, Corruption. Richard Brown, the song in Lust for a Vampire. Yeah, vaguely remember that. Yeah. James F, this has been a brilliant chat tonight. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I'm glad you have too, James. Really nice to reminisce and talk to everyone. Have a nice night and a great bank holiday weekend. Oh, thanks very much, James, mate. Yeah, you too. Enjoy yourself. Have a nice Easter. Don't eat too many chocolate eggs. It's been great. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again another couple of weeks' time. Cheers, mate. We've got 2 minutes left, guys. So as I say, I'll just any comments to filter through. Okay, I love almost all the 60s, 70s Clint Eastwood films. A few dodgy ones in there. Yeah, I wasn't keen on Firefox. That was boring. That the Iger Sancho wasn't keen on that. Didn't like that. Tony York, good night all. Good night, To. Thanks for turning up, mate. Been great. Enjoyed it. Yeah, so. Well, I hope you all managed to, you know, if you're going Blu-ray hunting, the DVD hunting over the weekend, I hope you managed to pick up some bargains, even online. You get some good bargains online, you know, Indicator Arrow usually have good sales on. But yeah, and yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been great. We've got PR Pwangi. Hello, Alan. I've recently become a fan of Dracula. I'm watching Dracula AD. Good one. And it's not the best one. Oh, you don't like it? I love Dracula AD 1972. I thought, yeah, I know Christopher Lee wasn't too. He took a dim view of bringing Dracula into the modern times, didn't he? He didn't really want to do it, but I'm very glad he did. You know, I would have hated another actor taking over it in those Hammer films. I would have most probably would have turned off. You know, everybody wanted Christopher Lee. You know, and I'm very glad he did those Dracula movies. What he did, because he never done any more. Yeah, so yeah, so you don't like that one. I like that one. I think it's good. Grace. KN, right turn, Clyde. Yes, 72. Okay then, guys, I'm going to love yous and leave us all now. So hope you all have a nice Easter. You know, as I don't eat too many eggs. I'm sure you will. I can talk. I love my chocolate eggs. But yeah, it's been great. You know, discussing like horror movies and that. You know, and yeah, good turnout. And yeah, I always love coming back every now and then and chatting about, you know, favorite subjects and that, you know. So yeah, I'm going to go then now then, guys. I'm going to get myself some supper. So have a nice weekend. Take care. And I hope to speak to us all again very, very soon. Happy Easter. Bye.